Hello, my friend, and welcome. This is your moment. I'm Katarina Miletic, and you are listening to the podcast that will challenge you to think with your soul and believe that your only power is inside you. Hello, Arianna.
Hi.
Hi, I'm so happy to have you on This Is Your Moment podcast because we feature here people who are doing good work in the world, people who have creative ideas and who are not afraid to embrace those ideas and dance with them, take them further. And I would absolutely love to hear your story and knowing a little bit about your background. We connected because we are both YouTube content creators, right? That was our connecting point. But then in one of our conversations, we found out that we have a lot more in common. And what particularly interested me was how unusual your story is into becoming an entrepreneur, how you connected your background of science, of coming from the marine biologist to becoming a YouTuber and becoming an entrepreneur, inspiring other people to take a different approach to this. I would love to hear your story, how that connects and how you became passionate about this.
Yeah, definitely. And to really answer that question, I have to take it a bit back, like a long time, like since I was like a little girl. Ever since I was young, like what I've always done throughout life is I just followed my natural curiosity, right? Wherever my curiosity took me, that's where I went. And so I've been doing that throughout my whole life so far. I'm 22 right now, and I just graduated college with a degree in marine biology, like you said. And what really led me to marine biology, like I told you, was just following that curiosity. And in high school, I was really asking myself, like, what do I want to do with my life? As all high schoolers do at one point. And I really wasn't sure. And then I read a book. It was called Letters from a Young Poet by Maria Rilke. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. And she really emphasized the point to just, live in the question, like, of what it is you want to do. And so I did that. And she said, once you do that, you'll just find yourself living in the answer. And what I did the following year is I signed up for a course in marine biology, right? That was my senior year of high school. And oh my gosh, I absolutely loved it. And, I'm someone who grew up in the Midwestern United States. And the closest ocean is about 700 miles from here. I don't know what that is in kilometers, but it's it's really far.
It's over 1,000, yes.
Yeah, it's over 1,000 kilometers. And so I did have some encounters with the ocean as a little girl. Like we took vacations to like Florida and California and the East Coast, and I loved the ocean. And once I met with it again that senior year of high school, then I just knew like this is what I want to do. I just fell in love with like all the colors, and it was like a whole nother world, right? Because especially where I live, it's a lot of infrastructure, right? It's a bit gloomy. There's a lot of smog in the air, and people here, they're not very connected with nature. Like we're not in touch with the land. It's very commercialized. And so when I went to the ocean, we traveled to Florida for that class, and just seeing all like the colors and like all the fish, and I saw like this huge Goliath grouper, which was like, you can't see my arms, but it was huge. I saw sharks, and I was taking like photos and videos, and I'm like, okay, like this is it. This is what I want to do. And so what I did is I started applying for colleges, right? I applied for marine biology programs in Florida and in California. But something else about my background is I come from a low-income family. Originally, I was born in a very low-income neighborhood in Illinois, very high crime rates, very dangerous. And I come from a low-income family, so we weren't able to afford out-of-state tuition. We couldn't afford those programs. So what we could afford is staying in state. Right now, I'm in Indiana, right? So I'm like, okay, how can I pursue marine biology here in Indiana? There's no ocean. How can I do it? So I went to that school. It's a big school, like 40,000 students go to Indiana University. And what I found is that they had a program for designing your own major. And what you can do is you can apply for the program, get sponsorship, and how it works is you pull together courses from all the different departments and design your own major, right? So that's what I did. And not only that, I also studied abroad in Australia as an exchange student, and those classes went towards my curriculum. So once I completed that, I actually got recognition as the university's first woman marine biology graduate, right? So only males in the past, thank you, only males in the past have actually pursued marine biology at Indiana University through that program. So I got recognition as their first woman. And to me, that went a really long way, because another thing too, I'm Hispanic, right? So I don't have a lot of the privileges that a lot of other students do. Here in America, it's very kind of divided between the different races, something not all the other countries have, but you know, it definitely, I definitely don't have as many privileges. So that school was majority white, right? And only 4% Latinos. And so only 2% of the school, they're Latinas, so females from Latin America. So being like the first woman of color went a really long way. And it's interesting because just doing that, figuring out how to design my own major, I became very resourceful, right? And as you know, as an entrepreneur, that's one of the top skills you can have is being resourceful, thinking outside the box, right? Not following the path as everyone else and taking risks. So once I graduated, you know, I was figuring out kind of back to that question, like, what am I going to do? Because I'm still in Indiana. I do plan to move in a couple months closer to the ocean, but it's like, okay, to get there, to get to San Diego, which is where I'm headed next. First I need the funds, right? You need money to move, and it's an expensive city to live in. So I'm thinking, okay, I don't want to have to trade my time in for money. How can I be entrepreneurial? How can I utilize that resourcefulness and that entrepreneurial mindset of mine, you know, to actually be able to move to San Diego? And so that's what I'm doing now. And as I told you, like I have a YouTube channel, I have a personal brand called Ari the Creator. And so my main mission with that is to help people fall back in love with nature and enhance their well-being, making the world a better place in return. Because what I discovered with my marine biology degree is for that, I was doing a lot of scientific research. And scientific research is great, but it wasn't making the impact that I was after, because what I discovered is that not many people read scientific papers, right? Like very few numbers. So I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't the way I want to go about protecting the oceans. Maybe I could take a different approach. And so that's when I really got into social entrepreneurship, and that's what I'm doing now. My social cause is protecting the ocean, and I'm moving forward with that. And I have my own coaching business as well, where I help people spread their message on the platform of YouTube, because YouTube, I see it more as like just any platform. We've talked about this before, right? It's not just any social media platform. It's so great for spreading your message, growing your audience, growing your business, and really establishing your authority in an area. So what I'm also doing is I'm helping people do that for whatever change they wish to see in the world, right? Because as you know, we are the creators of our life experience. And that really ties back into my whole brand's mission of Ari the Creator. What am I here to do? It's really to do that, to create the change I wish to see in the world and to help others do the same.
Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, again, I can take that conversation in so many different directions. Your story is just so inspiring. Like, how did you even end up in Australia, and what was that experience like? Like, I don't want you to skim over that detail, because your accomplishments are great in that, in the background of your studies and how you got onto this threshold of being an entrepreneur. So let's just go back to that detail, and then we're going to dive deeper.
Yeah, so Australia. So I was really lucky, and I chose to go the semester before COVID hit, right? So it was in 2019, and it's funny, right after I came back home, like COVID hit like that. So I was really lucky to be able to go to Australia and to get that experience. So very, very grateful for that. I just wanted to start off with that point. But in Australia, that's really when I started taking classes with hands-on marine biology work, right? We weren't just in the classroom, like watching like lectures on the screen. Like we were actually like going out to the ocean, conducting research, like in the water and seeing what that was like. So for me, like I loved it. I loved that hands-on experience and just being in that environment and learning that way. And that's actually when I discovered, because I was super passionate about protecting the ocean still. And that's really when I realized that maybe scientific research isn't the approach that I want to take. I still see the value and the importance of it. But this is like when I really discovered that not many people read scientific papers. So that was like one of my big takeaways from that. Not only that, but I really fell in love with underwater photography and videography. And what I discovered there is that these photos and these videos, right, they went a much longer way at inspiring people to protect the oceans than my scientific papers ever did, right? Like I met a lot of friends there from like Europe. They're all doing the exchange program. Like I remember I would come back and I would show them like these photos and these videos that I took while out in the field, like doing research, right? And I would just show them like, look what I saw today. Like, isn't it awesome? And they were like, whoa, like that's so cool. This looks unreal. Like this is amazing, right? And like that just like lights people up. But if I were to show them like, oh, look at the scientific paper that I wrote, isn't it great? Like they'd be like, I'm not too interested in reading that, you know. So yeah, that's when I really fell in love, and that's when I realized that it's powerful storytelling and imagery that's going to spark change, right? Because people, they're, especially nowadays, that, you know, everyone's on social media, they're on their phones, and that just really grabs people's eyeballs, right? That's what people are looking at. They're on YouTube, they're on social media. So when you look at it from that approach, then you see that we have to start changing our ways to actually inspire people, right? So that was my biggest takeaway from Australia. And honestly, I could really go on and on about it. Just my whole experience. I mean, I was there for like half a year. Another thing that I'll say is that there, like, I really felt more connected with the land than I did like living here in the Midwestern United States. Because I told you here it's all these buildings, it's a lot of infrastructure, but there, my apartment was right by this huge mountain range filled with all these natural trees and, you know, wild animals like birds, spiders, snakes, lizards. And I lived right by the ocean, which also had a lot of marine life. So yeah, I mean, I just felt so connected with that land. Like I remember I would like go on hikes every day, like, or just go like on walks at the beach. And the university, I lived right next to it. Their university also was filled with like all these trees. Like the campus had like all these exotic birds. And I'm just like, wow, like why, like how come here like they destroyed all that, they commercialized it all, but there it was more of a balance with humans and nature. So when I saw that, that really just changed my perspective and like how I looked at things, right? That was a huge part of my experience there.
Yes. I'm really glad I asked that question, because I can see how that overlaps and connects and enhances what you do now. And I love how you take everything, the whole picture, and you are building upon that picture. It's not turning back on your scientific background, not turning back on your excitement to protect the nature and as it is, because we really have the duty to protect it. Otherwise, the future generations that are going to come in 100 years maybe won't see as many species, as many wild things that we do have in our oceans, let's say in oceans, but nature everywhere needs to be protected. Especially hurtful when you see that we're cutting so many trees, right? I'm sure they're still cutting more than they are planting. That hurts, like that hurts our spirit, and somehow it's not taken into consideration, right? But not to take the conversation now in that direction. Let's get back to video content that you mentioned, because I agree with you completely. It's the most powerful tool that we have as entrepreneurs in our building of networks that can reach far, far away places, right? Where before we could just work with people who are in our immediate environment. Now the world is completely open. And by using this video medium, I think that we can portray our messages and our mission in a better and more profound way, like more real, tangible way, if you will, than we could ever before, right? And I love that you chose YouTube, because I don't know how I also that platform for me resonated so much, because I always found the content that served me and interested me there. So you come across different views where people are thinking it's not a good influence, but I'm thinking you have the choice of what you are picking to see. And to me, YouTube was very useful. And I wanted to go a step further also there, to make this content available forever, to offer it for free as a additional thing to what I am doing outside of this content creation, right? And I'm in a creative field, and I love that you are thinking creatively, because when you use these abilities that you have, like curiosity, like resourcefulness, you can reach far in life, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I want you to tell me about the community that you have, and about this aspect of being on YouTube. How do you want to take that? In what direction? How you who you want to reach?
Right. So with my community right now, I created a community of people. They're called YouTube Influencers of Tomorrow. Right. So it's people who aspire to utilize YouTube to, spread their message, grow their audience, grow their business, and establish their authority in an area. Right. And I'm sure, like, as you know, it could take a while to monetize on YouTube. So my goal with that community is to really support one another in our endeavors, whatever it is that we're striving to do, right? And so people in my community, they see that it's more, like, YouTube is more than just a platform, like we talked about, right? It can be really used as a vessel for whatever mission you're after. So people who are on it, they have some type of change that they wish to see in the world, whether it's helping people to escape their 9-to-5 jobs, or just becoming more fit, or becoming more spiritual, right? So the reason why I incorporate all these things is because what I realized is, to really make the world a better place starts, like, at that individual level, right? It starts with enhancing our well-being, right? And what I've noticed is that the health of the planet, the economy, and people all go hand in hand, right? So I see the importance of all these things, because everything is so interconnected. So my goal with my community is to really empower them to realize it, and to see that they can create the change that they wish to see in the world. But most importantly, they don't have to do it all by themselves, right? A lot of people think, especially as an entrepreneur, they have this very individualistic mindset, right? They think they have to do everything by themselves. But I created that community to show them, like, you don't have to do it all by yourself. Like, you can have community, you can have people to talk to, especially, like, if you have questions about something, or there's something you're struggling with, you can come to the community, you can ask it, and really get help and support with that, right? Like, we don't have to be in this all by ourselves. If we all join together, we can all help each other towards our missions, even if we're working towards very different things, right? Because, like, at the end of the day, like, it's crazy, like, how we're still, like, struggling with some of the same things, right? And not only that, but, like, if you accomplish something, like, if you have a big win, right, you have people to celebrate that with. So that's something I'm striving to grow right now. I'm planning to do, like, some type of membership in the future. I don't have that quite yet, but I'm planning like weekly Zoom meetings, to really have that strong connection and support, because it's so important, right? Especially with healing the planet, right?
Yes.
It comes down to like forming that community, right, and striving towards a mission.
You can count on my help, and I will not only join your community but support it, and let's work together, because that really is a common goal between us, is empowering people, making sure that everyone knows that this same potential is inside them also, and they will have their own unique missions, as you said. And it's beautiful that those missions are diverse, but we can still work together and support each other, because there are elements that connect all of us. And as you touched upon, those are those elements that we work on ourselves, like in every single day. I want to ask you a couple of things now that your answer inspired me to ask. So,
Yeah.
Is there an age limit in your community? I know
An age limit?
Yeah.
No. No, there's actually a huge range of people, from people in like their 60s, to people like me in their 20s. I don't believe there's anyone below 20 to my knowledge, but in that range. So it's just like-minded people, at the end of the day, like age is just a number.
Absolutely.
And I've met people who are like 40 or 50 who act like my age. And
Yes.
yeah, like any age really, just as long as like you have that drive and you have that mission that you're after, because like you said, like regardless of age, like one thing like we all have in common is really like our vehicle or our vessel, right? Even though we all have different missions, even though we're all taking different approaches to accomplish that mission, one thing we all have in common is the vehicle, like, right? We're all utilizing the power of YouTube to make that change.
Excellent. Excellent. I wanted to reiterate that point. Obviously, I knew when I was asking the question that you did not have any age limit. I just wanted to feel maybe older people more comfortable in knowing that it doesn't really matter where your starting point is. What matters is that you feel compelled to deliver that message. And I would warmly recommend Arianna's group for you if you want to use the vehicle of YouTube to deliver your message, to deliver it to wider audience. If your message matters to more people, and if it matters to making our world a better place for everyone, then I think you need to get connected, because you will get encouragement, you will get practical steps in how this young lady is absolutely serving her community. It's like second to none from what I have seen, and I have seen a lot, trust me. So
well, I appreciate that.
we will put a link to your Facebook group and to everything else that you wish to share, that you think it's relevant what you mentioned here, so that people can get directly in touch with you and check out your community and whether that resonates with them further. Okay.
Awesome.
Lovely. And I wanted also to ask you, how do you personally, like, what is the thing that nourishes your soul the most? What is something that you, how do you fill your cup? Let's say it like that.
How do I fill my cup? That's a really good question. So I believe that the ultimate secret to living is giving what you have. And I'm not the first person to say that. That's a huge Tony Robbins quote, right? Because what I learned is you have to have more in order to give more, right? A lot of people want to give, but if they don't have anything to give, then they don't have the ability to do that, right? So I'm a big believer in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a pyramid, right? And what he says is that you must meet your basic needs first, right? Of food, shelter, water, and then ascending like your relationships, your self-esteem, before you can reach the top of that pyramid and become self-actualized, right?
Yeah.
So what I believe is that like as me as a person, I need to focus on myself first, right? Filling my own cup and meeting my basic needs before I can go above and beyond that. and start helping other people. And that's why I love what it is that I'm doing, because I'm working towards the very top of that pyramid. And I'm hoping that I can have more so that I can give more, so I can make that change. And, something that I do strive for is like, especially like in my business, like I've noticed that, money is a great tool, right? It can really be used to make a difference. So I see money as a tool, as a resource for making that difference. So that's something that really drives me, right, to try to make that change, right? Because what I envision in the future, I'm hoping I can like use that money to start nonprofits and like donate to great causes and really support scientists who are doing like really important research, right? So putting more money in that area to help make that change that I wish to see.
To grow your mission and to expand it into doing so much good for the benefit of so many, and not just the people, but the environment and everything. And I completely agree with you. And I have to commend again, because you mentioned that your background is coming from a very modest, if not, I think you even said poor background, and to have a healthy relationship towards money, it's rare to hear, because a lot of people struggle with that. They have somehow attached this to their own worth, and they get caught in this wheel that takes them down the negative spiral. But to have a vision as clear as yours, and to have the open-mindedness that you can absolutely reach that vision, is such a healthy state of being that there is nothing standing in the way of that. It inspires me to ask you, do you think there is a first of all, do you think there is a limit to our potential and to our own resources as to how far we can take our own dreams?
Is there a limit? No, I do not believe that there's a limit. I believe that human beings, especially, are more capable of what we could even fathom to be possible. And it's just a matter of realizing that and unlocking it, and actually going forward and soaring with your potential. Because once you start soaring, like once you launch off, I like to think like a metaphor, like a rocket launching off, like there is no limit, right? You can just keep going and going and soaring, right? So I don't believe that there is a limit to our potential. And I truly believe that if you desire something, you can become resourceful and find a way to do it, right? It's a lot of people, they get lost in the tyranny of how to do things. But like once you really ground yourself in that why, and your why, and you can like feel your why, and that why is in the heart of service, then you can really like just soar beyond what you ever thought possible, right? So
absolutely.
Do I believe it's a limit? No, not at all. I don't.
No. Absolutely. I turned 50 this year. I've never believed that we had any limit on us. And I always correct people when they say sky's the limit. I say, no, it's not, because there is no limit. There is literally, the only limitation is the one you place there yourself, upon yourself. And as you said, and rightly so, you use the word self-realization. That really has to be focused, because when you realize what kind of I don't want to use the word tool, but what is available to you here in this individualized projection of something much larger than us, when you tap into that potential inside you, when you align with that, there is no limit. There is no barrier between you and all there is. That's a true power. That's a true
right.
power.
And while I don't believe in like limitations, like I do believe that like everybody has obstacles, right, between where they are and where they want to be, right? And
don't they make us better? Don't they make us, they really make us pull out the best of inside us to overcome them, right?
Right, exactly. And that was actually the next point I was going to make. Like those obstacles, like once you overcome them, they're going to make you so much stronger. And a lot of that is mental too, like mentally stronger, emotionally stronger, right? So I believe that like everything happens for a reason, and those barriers are there for a reason to teach us something and to gain some type of skill from it. Like for example, when I was trying to find a way to study marine biology, obviously there was huge obstacles in the way, right? One of them being I'm not even near the ocean. Like, how can I really master this subject? And like I told you, resourcefulness comes a long way. Like I found a way. Like I found a way to go to Australia and to find the courses that I needed. And yeah, that made me way stronger now, because now I have that skill of resourcefulness. And not only does it apply to marine biology, but it applies to entrepreneurship and YouTube and everything else that I do. So those skills are applied to a lot of other things as well.
Yes,
So
yes, that exactly. They become who you are, because this is all available to you to use creatively in every aspect of your life. Don't you think that life is designed so that we can succeed at every endeavor that we wish to see in the world, that we wish to see in our own life, that we wish to bring to, to being real, being here in front of us, and
yeah,
also that potential inside us, right?
yeah, I do believe that. I firmly believe that every human has immense potential to achieve greatness, right? But it's very rare that you hear a story like that,
Yeah.
right? Of someone actually reaching their potential and achieving something amazing, right? How often do you come across that? It's very, very rare. So I think potential is underrated, because I believe that everybody has it. It's just
Totally.
a matter of who will unleash their potential and
Yes.
actually go for it.
Yes.
That's rare.
I think what holds us back a lot is that we are comparing our own gifts to somebody else's gifts, and the gifts are unique. Your creative ability is completely yours. You need to discover and own it. We are not meant to be all as each other. We're meant to be different, but we can shine equally bright, right? That is that distinction. The greatness is same. The potential to realize that greatness is same. Nobody has less of it than the next one. But start comparing your gift, your unique gift, with somebody else's gift, and you end up in trouble. It's going to be like what Einstein said, if you um, judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, the fish is going to feel like a loser, right? Because it can never climb a tree like a monkey. So you cannot, in the same way, you can't compare your gift with someone else's gift. Yours is unique, and you just have to believe in that gift, right? But the potential that you can realize that to the best and become the best manifestation of that you hold inside is infinite.
Right. And I totally agree.
Mhm.
And yeah, especially like when you said Einstein, it made me think of another example about him. Someone said like if Einstein compared himself to a bunch of basketball players like Michael Jordan, he would believe that he doesn't have a lot of skill,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But it's not basketball that he was meant to do. It's, physics and mathematics, all those things. But one thing that I've discovered throughout my journey is, while I don't compare my skills to people, what's been really helpful is finding people who are already accomplishing what it is I hope to achieve in the future and modeling them. Not necessarily copying them, but modeling, because obviously they're doing something right.
Yes.
Right. And if you really study them, like success leaves clues.
Yes.
Right. And you can really like follow those models to get to where it is that you want to be. And, my advice to people who, like they're comparing themselves to other people, they don't quite know like what their gift is. I really have 3 pieces of advice for you, right? There's 3 ways you can really uncover like what it is that your skill is. And the first one is to explore, right? Because how would you even know what it is that you're good at if you didn't take the time to explore? Like if Michael Jordan never explored basketball, he would never even pursue it. If I didn't take that class and explored the ocean, I would have never have known that that was my passion,
Yeah.
right? So really go out there and try different things, right? And just see where your natural curiosity leads you. And when you find it, like, you'll know it, like with all matters of the heart, when you find something, like you just something in you like knows, it clicks, you're like, yes, like this is it, this is what I like, right? And so once you
Great.
explore, then that's going to lead to discovering, right? It's going to lead you to discover what it is you're passionate about. And it can be more than one thing, right? Like, look at me, I'm passionate about videos, marine biology, all these different things, like business. So after you discover what it is, the next step is creating, right? Create the life you want, revolving around those things. And don't just create like a hobby, or not even just a job, but just like an ultimate life purpose, right? Some way to leave your legacy.
Absolutely. Yeah. You nailed it.
Thank you.
Nailed it. And I think you blew all my previous guests out of the water.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
With your appearance. I am kidding, because I cannot compare. Obviously, we talked about different subjects and covered everything. But I just love your passion. I love your energy. I have no doubt in my mind that you will just keep manifesting every part of your dream or dreams, and that you will go through life just succeeding at every step and feeling good about everything that you do when you apply it in that way. I do hope that you will come back and share many, many more empowering stories, and perhaps we can get working on a project together or something, because I believe in inspiring people to take action, because sometimes the worst thing is knowing and feeling all of this inside you, and then you're just standing on that edge, like completely frozen, and not taking that step. And what is needed of you is just to take that one step, just one little step outside your comfort area, or where you feel like, settled in something in life. And when you do, the world just explodes in front of your eyes, and in such vivid images and in vivid visions of what you can achieve, that then you will see that every next step will be pulling you along. So that is my message. What would you wish to inspire people with, let's say, with this conversation?
Yeah, with this conversation. So when you were wrapping up there, something else came to my mind. It's not just about, I think of it more like, rather than like taking steps, like what I really envision it is like you're laying down bricks every day, right? And you're literally creating something. You're building the life you want. You're creating the change you wish to see in the world. So laying it down those bricks, and you don't. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? A lot of people get really, really honed in on perfectionism. It's not about being perfect. It's not. It's about striving for greatness, right? And perfectionism, that's another mindset thing that'll stop you from actually going after it. So just continue to lay down those bricks, continue to explore what it is you like, to discover different things, and to really start connecting the dots and start creating. And of course, one final thought for me is, there's a difference between coming at something from the heart of service versus selfishness. Because especially today, we live in a sea of selfishness, right? A lot of people that come on YouTube, or they start a business for very selfish reasons. Maybe they just want to make a lot of money, or, they want to just like, look at me, look at how great my life is, or they just want to start a business to make a lot of money. But what I've discovered is that when you come into it with the heart of service, of genuinely wanting to contribute to something bigger than yourself, that's the secret to success. Because if you don't have that love in your heart, it's very likely that you're not going to make it very far. It's very likely that you'll burn out, or that, you'll lose inspiration, and that like you just won't achieve what it is that you want. So that's my final advice. Always come to it from the heart of service. start with your why and just resonate as much love to people onto possible as you possibly can.
Oh, that is beautiful, lovely. I thank you so much for that. I mean, it has been so insightful what you have shared, and I look forward to hearing more from you, as I said, and to watching you. And I would invite again everyone who is interested into exploring themselves, their creative abilities, to get involved, right? Make that first step, make that move, research our names, because we're already there doing it and encouraging other people to take action too. And you will enjoy life all the more. Right.
Right. Yes. And I'd love to come back. I'd love to come on the show again, maybe a few months from now, and just see where it is that I've gotten. And,
Definitely.
yeah.
That's a promise.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me on here.
Oh, lovely.